A tech-savvy rider implemented new technology to modify his 2015 GL 1800 Honda Goldwing. That Goldwing later became known as Black Flash, an extreme lighting show bike. What's going on, everyone? What's going on, YouTube? This is your boy Carnell. Today is the 19th, on Monday. It's around 8 o'clock. Today I'm going to attempt to break my own cold weather riding temperature record. I think the lowest I ever rode on my motorcycle, and the coldest temperature has been like 35 degrees. Today, let me pull out my cell phone right quick. Today it is a whopping 14 degrees in Lawton, Oklahoma. The sun is out, but it is not getting any warmer. So I'm going to try to attempt to ride my Goldwing to work in 14 degree weather. And my purpose of the day is basically to set my own cold weather riding record on having the coldest temperature of riding my Goldwing. Now, I'm not out trying to break anybody else's record. I'm just trying to break my own. But it is something that I wanted to go over with y'all. And thanks to one of my military partners, Brian, Top Dog Bland. What I wanted to go over is called cold weather riding PMCS. Thanks to Top Dog Brian, PMCS, he kind of hit a home run with me on that one. PMCS is the term used in the military for Preventive Maintenance Checks and Service. PMCS. It is basically used as pre-checks on making sure whatever equipment you're about to use or whatever vehicle you're about to drive is going to be able to handle what you're about to do. And of course, I'm going to go out on a ride or go to work on my Goldwing. Under PMCS, the very first thing anybody or anyone should do for its equipment or vehicle is the obvious. You always do a walk around of the vehicle or the equipment you're about to use. A walk around for a PMCS, you basically looking for the obvious. Anything that's going to cause you to not use the equipment satisfactory. For me, that would be anything for as the obvious straps hanging off. Anything for as flat tires. If I can obviously see that there's a flat tire, then of course, yes, that's obstruction. So what you're looking for is obstruction to make sure nothing is wrong with whatever equipment you're about to use. And no matter if it's cars, motorcycles, or equipment you're about to use, PMCS is basically the pre-checks you would do on the equipment before you actually use it. And you do a complete walk around of the vehicle or the equipment to make sure that you do not obviously see anything that's going to hinder you from using that vehicle or using that equipment. So far I'm good. Everything is good to go. Now for the Goldwing, of course, since my Goldwing is in the garage, before I do anything else, I need to make sure I'm in a well ventilated area. So my garage is up, my covers are up. Now the next thing for me to do is simply turn on the Goldwing. Now the Goldwing itself has a high idle when it's cold weather. So the manual will tell you to let the high idle run. The high idle, excuse me, the high idle will usually last for about 30 seconds. And then from that point on, you're able to use your Goldwing or use whatever vehicle or equipment that you use that you're about to use. You know, if it has a high idle process, then of course you gotta let that high idle in. During this process, it's usually when I will start my vehicle and then I go in and fix me a cup of coffee or something like that. In this case, I'll go back in the house and finish getting dressed. So my starting procedure, after I get through checking on my bike to make sure there's no obstruction that's going to stop me or hinder me from riding the bike, I simply start my bike. And while the vehicle is running, I go back around and do the same thing all over again. Now that the vehicle is running, I'm making sure that I don't see any type of leaks that's coming from the vehicle while it's running. All of this is part of the PMCS, no matter what type of vehicle you're using. Once I check to make sure I see no leaks on the vehicle, then I can continue on with whatever I need to do. Like I said, the idle time for my Goldwing, I'm not saying yours, the idle time for my Goldwing is usually about 30 seconds. And I usually can tell when it starts kicking in as the high idle process passes through. Alright, from this point on, while the vehicle is running, I go in, finish doing what I got to do, and then I come back and finish up my PMCS on my vehicle. So my vehicle will actually be running after the high idle, will actually be running for about a total of about 5 minutes. But the high idle, like I said, usually lasts about 30 seconds or so. I'm gonna cut it short and I'll come back to you when I'm fully dressed after I got me a cup of coffee, and then I'll finish up my PMCS for my cold weather riding. For Monday the 19th of December 2016. Give me a few minutes and I'll be back. GoPro, stop recording. Okay, YouTube. Let me finish up my PMCS. I got the bike turned around. The next part of my PMCS, what I would normally do after the bike has high idled and ran for a minute or two. This is where I usually would check my oil, check my fluids. Now, of course, on the Goldwing is self-sufficient, so you actually don't have to turn the bike off to make these checks. All you actually have to do is look at your gauges and make sure you're getting some pretty decent temperature reading. None of your TMPS gauges are coming on or anything like that. What I would normally do is take the Goldwing out for a block or two and circle around and come back home. That little run will usually give me the time, give the Goldwing time for it to catch up with its sensors, making sure that the sensors are checking itself for the tire pressure, the tires, the calipers are kicking in for the brakes. I always would normally do a block, and for the simple fact that during cold weather,
The back tire is usually on my back tire is usually 41 psi. The front is usually 39 psi. During the cold weather, my back tire usually drop like 2 psi, and the front usually like 1 psi. That's just enough to kick on these sensors to let you know that your tire pressure is low. So I always would normally do a block around my neighborhood before I actually hit the highway. So I'm gonna go ahead and run my block right quick. If everything check out, then I'm gonna go ahead and head to work. So let me go ahead and get my block out the way for us checking letting the Goldwing sensors and stuff kick in. I'm disappointed. The sun came out and already it's about 25 degrees. And I already have ridden in 25-degree weather. So I would not be able to break my record for its low temperature. Another day, I guess. This is the block I usually would run for my neighborhood or for my house for giving the Goldwing time to check itself. So far, nothing has came on the TMPS. It usually would kick on if the tire pressure is low. Air pressure sensor. For some reason, during the cold weather, I always have a problem with those two gauges. And I know it's because, it's actually sensing that the tires are lower. Now, why the tires get lower, who knows? But during cold weather season, that's exactly what usually happens. I need to let my visor up too because it's fogging up on me. So far everything is good. Let me turn around. My little block run to make sure that the Goldwing is good to go. It's good to go. So all right, that concludes my PMCS for the cold weather starting. And like I said, for the Goldwing, like I said, I was actually out trying to break my temperature record, but it's already 25 degrees and it's going up. So disappointed that I wasn't able to break my temperature riding record. Other than that, YouTube, that's my spiel for the day. You all have a good one.